short and sweet review of this new climbing device we have here called the Buck Throttle. This one was sent to us courtesy of Buckingham, so we can check it out, see what we think of it, and give it a go in some trees. So I'll have you know that I've had this thing in some real actual work climbs. We did about 5 big, large white oak prunes with it, a couple of maple removals, and an ash climb even. So we've had it out, tried and tested in the field. It's working well for us. We like it so far. And I'll show you the good and the bad. Buckingham put out a list of ropes. They're not recommended ropes. They're just ropes that they tested it on. So apparently they're not recommending any specific ropes. It's just this will accept ropes between 11 to 13 millimeters. So we tried it on a slew of different ropes here. We've got the Hyperclimb, we got the Tachyon, we got Mercury, we've got Kernmaster, we've got this Arbor Freak, and even some old school Safety Blue Hy-Vee. We tried on all these different ropes, and and we even tried on a Poison Ivy. The rope that we settled on that we like the best is the old Blaze, the old Yale Blaze. I think it's only rope dependent because a lot of these ropes have different sort of issues that the device doesn't like. It likes a rope that is 11 millimeter. It likes that size. It likes a rope that stays round under load. So even like the Kernmaster is just kind of mushy under load, and it mushes out inside the device. The Mercury, awful stiff, doesn't have good knotability, whereas the Blaze is a nice, soft, supple, knottable rope that stays round under load, and it's a low stretch rope. It works really well with this. So I'll show you how this goes on and off the rope. Open this up. So you want to put the rope or the device on the rope. You don't put the rope in the device. So you hold a little tension and you kind of slide it on, and it slides right in the top. These two cams, we'll call them cams. They kind of rock back and forth like cams, and they pinch against each other. It's a unique design. It's a very unique design. It's really unlike anything else. A lot of people say it looks a lot like the Akimbo, and it does on first glance, but it functions quite a bit differently than the Akimbo. And it has a really cool feature that the Akimbo lacks too. We'll show you that in a few minutes. And we can open this bottom. You really need a thumbnail here. It's not a very large button, so you need to maybe even take your glove off if it's wintertime to open that. There we are on the rope in an SRS configuration, just like this. I'm not going to do a lot of climbing here, but let me show you how kind of smooth this runs on the Blaze. Very smooth. Stops when you want it. Holds firm and runs nicely on the Blaze. On all these other lines, we've had issues with this thing just stopping when you don't want it. When you want it to go, it stops, and when you get it to release, it drops you a little bit, which it's a lot of getting used to. And perhaps once these cams get worn in, and this other wear plate on the inside here, this is a wear friction point, this might wear down a little bit, and then you can start to squeeze in some larger ropes. But all in all, it really functions quite nice. It goes up the line really nice. It does what it's supposed to do. Very little sit back. And then I can come down controlled, and I can bottom out pretty fast. Nice and controlled. All in all, I like it for SRS. I'm an SRS climber. I don't do a lot of MRS unless I'm working on a crane. Now, in MRS mode, it seems to like the fatter ropes a little bit better. So we'll grab this Hyperclimb here and rig this up in a MRS moving rope system, double rope configuration. Once again, putting the rope on the device, or the device on the rope. The device on the rope, not the rope in the device. So right here, push this little tab, move it to MRS. It just makes a little more space between this cam this roller, which actually is a functioning bushing that rolls, which is nice. It's like its own slack tending pulley built in. Now I'm in a moving rope system, and that's not too bad. That's not too bad. So what's really cool about this is this top attachment hole for the terminated end of your climbing line. What this does is when you're pulling slack, you're pulling yourself up, you get the slack here, but the device doesn't flop down. There's no flop whatsoever. So it's kind of nice. And if you're going to use like a foot ascender, then there's absolutely no flop at all. So that is actually quite nice. We like that feature quite a bit. And you'll notice now on the hyperclimb in an MRS system, it's quite smooth. The bird, if you will, part that you grab is very large. You can get 3 whole fingers on it, which is cool. I like that. Let's talk about a couple things I'm not in love with. Let me just say, out of all fairness, this thing does what it's supposed to do. It's a really solid, really robust device, and I actually do like it a lot. But there's just a couple things. If the manufacturer ever going to make some changes, this little button down here, I can't push it with my thumb or even my little finger. I have to get a thumbnail on it. So that's a potential drawback. One thing that's cool about this that I'll show you is that you can actually, I'll put this on here once, see if that works. Look at that. So you would never ever climb or put a load on it in this configuration, but we can see how it works on the inside. Just like that. And then here's the other side, the bottom. We can see that that is a pulley, basically. I think it's just a bushing, but it rolls very nicely. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool device. I like it a lot. We're going to end up using a lot more. There's a little bit of a learning curve, as with any new tool. At first, right out of the box, we kind of struggled just getting the rope, getting this on and off the rope. One thing I don't like is how my carabiner tends to roll through here. So I wish, or what I'm going to do is some sort of corner trap or a big rubber grommet that fits in here that keeps my carabiner oriented in the right position. That would be an improvement. A larger button down here. I guess I get it for safety. You don't want anything accidentally pushing that and actuating it. This button up top seems to be a little bit dainty, if we say. Some serious engineering going on in here. But like I said, we've done a lot of climbing, a lot of sawdust showered down on this thing, and haven't had any problems with anything gumming up. Didn't get a chance to try it in any pine pitch. One more thing that we noticed right out of the box was that the manufacturer apparently was trying to save some ink and paper, which I'm all about saving the environment, but I can hardly read that. So that's where I had a misconception that these ropes were the approved climbing ropes, and they're not. These are just ropes that they actually tested them on. So yeah, if they could make the pamphlet a little bigger and easier to read, maybe make that push button a little bigger. Oh, one more thing I did find. I don't know if the camera can pick this up. Zoom in right here. There's this little sharp little shark fin that's like a leftover remnant of the milling process. When this groove was milled out, the light is good enough in here. This groove was milled out to accept this part in both SRS and MRS. So they had to mill this groove out. What they left was this tiny little sharp point, and I actually picked one of my lines, picked a yarn out of a rope on that. All in all, I like it a lot. I think it's going to work really good.
It's a handsome tool.
It's very beautiful and very well built. And as far as, you know, comparing it to other tools, you really can't. I mean, it's a one of a kind if it's a standalone thing. Is it heavy? Well, A little bit, but I'm not carrying this around. It's carrying me. So I don't mind the weight of it at all. I think I like how, I think I'll overuse the word robust, but look how thick and just well made that thing is. I wonder if possibly one of these cams could be adjustable to make it easier to accept the larger ropes, because that little slot there, and you see, that's not how they ride when they're on the line. They don't ride in like a mirror image. Rather, one is above the other one. So it does cause this little bit of S shape. So it really likes the blaze. True 11 millimeter. Firm yet supple. So that's about all I got to say about the Buck Throttle for today. We're gonna give this thing a lot more field testing and see if we can find any real problems with it. So far, so good. Definitely not a safety risk in any way. I really enjoy it. So thanks a lot, Buckingham, for letting us try this thing out. Buck Throttle.